That's a great intro photo, by the way. That's a great photo.
Oh, thank you. There's a cipher I did in for the Knock 303.
Hmm.
Yeah, basically they're like a group. They make ciphers in Denver and stuff. They run those kind of events. And then we were at D3 by D3 Arts and over there in the west side of Denver and
Oh,
by this cafe. And yeah, I was like, yeah, let's do it, man. Take a picture and yeah, it's one of my favorites.
yeah. Did you know the muralist at all, or was it just something that was there?
No, I don't know who did the mural. I know I can find out for sure, but I didn't know. I hadn't known. I should though, because I need to be giving them credit, man.
Yeah.
Y'all are sick, man. Like this, I always admire visual artists because just to be able to have the vision for it and
Hmm.
then like just to manifest it. It's that's crazy, dude. It's just insane. The
It's fun.
photographic memory, bro. That's crazy.
It's fun to do too. I will say it's not always photographic memory, at least not in my case. It was like, I mean, for murals, definitely, where it was like you got to plan it out. But a lot of times when I'm like just sketching and stuff, I don't know what the end result's gonna be. I'm usually just as surprised as everyone else.
That's tight.
We'll start with a little intro here. So, just hearing you for the first time. Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Jon Rubio. I am a multifaceted artist. Some people know me as the drummer of the Mocochetes and also as a hip hop artist from Denver and CEO of Conciencia, my new brand that I just dropped. And I'm also a music teacher and I teach martial arts as well.
Man, you're busy, huh? All the time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Staying busy, man, and promoting the mission. It's all about the mission.
That's what's up, man. So, where are you from and how did music become a part of your life?
So I'm from Denver, born in Denver, was raised up in like North Glen or Thornton area. So like North Metro area. My parents are from Mexico. I'm first generation American here. My parents grew up in LA and then they moved here in Denver. I was born. So my family is originally from Michoacan and La Paz, California.
Hmm.
And so I'm definitely mixed indigenous. Our tribes are Guaycura, Mexica. I have Raramuri and Purepecha in my
Purepecha.
bloodline.
Nice.
So we have like yeah, we got a lot of ties, and then I got like a little bit of Spanish. We're like mutts, like we have a lot of from everywhere. We don't really carry like a solid Spanish lineage or anything like that.
Hmm.
Most of our ties are like indigenous Mexican.
Hmm.
So like we're usually able to trace those back, but it's a little harder with the other side. It's just kind of lost. But yeah, so I identify as a mixed indigenous person. You know, I think everybody's indigenous regardless of where you come from. I just happen to be indigenous to Mexico
Hmm.
to have a little bit of mix, you know, from other sides of the world. But yeah, I was born in Denver. My parents met at a church, so that kind of laid out, you know, where music came from. My parents used to perform in the alabanza, which is like the worship team at the churches.
Hmm.
And you know, my parents are Christian. They grew up with that side of culture. So music was brought to me at a young age. I mean, ever since I was a kid, like I remember my dad putting me on a drum set when I was like 2, and I remember holding time on my hands. You know, I'm doing like,
At two. Wow, that's amazing.
and yeah, man, he would do the kick drum, and like it was just crazy. You know, my dad also played piano, guitar, and sang. So
Hmm.
I started getting an ear for just music in general, not just one instrument. When I was 5, I took piano lessons until I was 9. I
Hmm.
was proficient at playing piano, like I got to a pretty good level. And then middle school, I started really getting into drums. Like my brother was a jazz cat, sax player as well as a guitarist. And you know, he would always tell me, he's like, "Oh, you like metal? You gotta play jazz, bro. You're gonna get sick." So middle school, high school, I started doing jazz and concert band. My last 2 years, I did concert band, marching band, and jazz.
Hmm.
And I also got into hip hop around that time when I was like 12. I kind of started rapping as well. I'm also a rapper, like I said, multifaceted. I do a lot of music stuff. But I didn't really get into rapping until I was out of high school. And
Hmm.
that was simultaneously, I was studying at Metro State University in Denver
Yeah.
for jazz drums performance. So I was learning how to perform as a professional drummer. and I learned music theory and all kinds of stuff. But I would skip class to go make beats and start rapping.
Yeah,
And so I finished most of my music creds, but like all my general education, like regular math and like biology, all that, like I never really finished all that. I kind of like I was just rapping and playing drums, and then I met my band Los Mocochetes through there. A couple of my band members were actually they were down on campus, and we would just hang out. And I dropped out of school, got with the band, and I started a rap group called Bottomless Pit back in the day. I had a few friends in it, and unfortunately, things don't work out. Sometimes it's hard to find people that are equally as passionate about something, and it's like business. You just you gotta be around the right people. And the band took off. I know we met a few months ago down in Pueblo. We did a
that's
show,
right. Yeah.
and we love Pueblo. We love going down and showcasing the art, and uplifting the community with the message and promoting that social awareness, social justice. And as the rapper, like I also do the same thing. I produce my music. I'm a beat maker, and so I've been releasing music for quite some time as well. And yeah, that's pretty much how I got into music. Is just kind of in my house, and like I was guided to like take paths in music, and
Mhm.
and and yeah, man. I mean, it just they tell me it just runs in my family.
So you mentioned like with your parents and your dad, but did you take it seriously at the time, or is that something that came on later, where it was just like a play thing that you did with your dad, or were you taking it seriously like right away?
When I was a kid, I mean, I really loved music, but I don't think, I mean, it's when you're a kid, your parents will make you play soccer, or they'll make you play football or something, like, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And like kids love it, but it's not, most kids aren't like, ooh, I love this so much. Like, I want to do this as a career.
Right.
Some kids don't for everything. It could be music, art, it could be football, whatever, sports. Like, so it was one of those things where like my parents just wanted me to do music,
Hmm.
and so they kind of forced me to play piano, and like I liked it, but um, you know, it was all right. Like I didn't really take it that serious until I got into middle school. Once I really started playing drums,
Yeah.
that's when I started taking it serious, because seeing like my brother perform in his jazz bands, like in his high school, and
Hmm.
like just watching their drummer, like watching how they do stuff, um, it inspired me to get better, and like we used to perform at the churches. So when I was 12 was when I first started performing, like at school, but also in front of people at the church.
Right.
So like I started getting used to that dynamic of like I have to be on stage, and instead of me being like, I gotta go to concert band, I didn't really like the music that I had to learn how to play in jazz and concert band at the time. I wasn't it
Yeah.
wasn't I was more into hip hop and like metal and stuff, so but regardless, like, I did take it serious by the time like I was in middle school, was like really when I locked in, and I was like, yeah, I want to do this. Like I love doing this, love performing, and like, this is kind of what I is my passion. So
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah. So that's kind of like the moment where it became a passion for you. Um, so do you remember a moment during this time where you thought, yeah, I really might have something here?
oh man, yeah, bro. Like it was crazy because where I started noticing it was being at the being at the top of my classes in my drum classes.
Hmm.
And I didn't realize, because a lot of those kids had barely started playing drums. Like I was on and off with drums since I was like 2, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like, I didn't like seriously start playing until I was 12, but I had already had experience like just keeping time, and like,
Mhm.
having rhythm, and learning how to read music from playing piano.
Right.
And so I remember being in like middle school. Um, we would get evaluated by the teachers,
Mhm.
and I would always be like at the top of the class and like my performance and how I did. And the drum section, right? The percussion section is what it was called in
Right.
concert band.
Mhm.
And so I was like, dang, I guess I'm pretty good at this. Like I didn't, you know what I mean? Like I just love playing. Like I didn't really care for that.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, like, if I have a talent at this, like I should use that and like I should hone in on those skills and really see how far I can go.
Yeah.
And like jazz in high school was cool because you got to see other people that were older and had more experience. And I would just talk to people. I'm like, bro, teach me how to do that. Teach me how to do this. Like, show me how to do this. Like, I want to be the best I could be and like really just hone in on the skills. So, um, but yeah,
Well, that's what's up, man. Do you remember the first time someone outside your circle showed you love for your music?
yeah, yeah. I mean, really just in middle school, man. Like middle school and high school, like anytime that I would play something, like people would be like, "Yo, you're pretty good, dude." And it was crazy, man, because I had my dad's one of my dad's friends. His son used to play drums when he was a little kid, and he was like a prodigy. This kid was like 3 years old. Like he was on a drum magazine.
Wow.
And so my dad brought me over to play for them,
Mm.
and they were like, "Holy crap! Like this kid's good." And so they had me give him drum lessons when I was like 14, 13, 14 years old, 14,
Mhm.
15. So I started teaching them, and that was like one of the other first times I really noticed like other people were like, "Yo, we like what you're doing." Like, churches would hit us up and be like, "Yo, we like your band. Like, can you guys play at our church?" Or like, we need some music. Can you play here? So it was cool. Like I got to learn a lot just being exposed, and that was really the first time I started not like seeing it like other people were getting involved with like what I was doing.
That's beautiful. So how would you describe your sound to someone who's never heard you before?
Oh man. Dude, that's crazy. That's a tough one, man. Cause I listen like, I mean, you guys heard, like, I listen to metal, but I
Yeah.
also listen to, hip hop, a lot of hip hop. So, um, the way that I describe it's like, I'm really melody driven. So
Mhm.
I love melody. If it's like, you hear all my music, all of my choruses I make are catchy, on purpose. Like, I really add a lot of attention to the melody, to the singing aspect, but also as a drummer, I rap like how I drum, and I rap very percussive, like Tech Nine style. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of my style, how I do stuff. Um, and but yeah, I mean, like I just dropped a video on my Instagram where I'm talking about how I mix like, Miami Vice.
Yeah.
It's got like the real sick electric guitar and stuff, like that
Yeah.
kind of style of music. So I mixed that into a trap beat that I made into a song that I'm making. And so like that just to kind of show you like my sound is like I'm always genre blending. So
Mhm.
it's not like every song of mine sounds the same. Like
Right.
it all fits under the category of hip hop, but like one song I might mix Wu-Tang Clan with Pink Floyd, right?
That's a trip.
Like crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Another one I'll mix Bad Bunny with like Tech Nine, or another one I'll mix like I don't know, the Cumbia Kings with like Tupac. You know what I'm like something
These
crazy like
these are
or
such novel connections.
yeah, or like I'll mix Linkin Park with MGK or something like, you know what I mean, or Logic
Yeah.
or Joyner Lucas or somebody like I
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of music, and like it's hard to like narrow it down, but
Right.
essentially I mix rap, rock, and Latino music, jazz, like I mix all these genres together to make the hip hop that I know.
That's awesome. What kind of emotions or messages do you want people to get from your music?
Um, it depends on the song. I mean, primarily, I want people to relate to the music.
Mhm.
The songs that I do make, like I make for people to relate to. I like people I want people to feel like they're not, oh, the only ones who feel a certain way, but also to think critically. That's one of the big things, like I really do make conscious music intentional. Like not every line is just a line for me. Like every line, every word means something in the context of like, you know, talking about sobriety or like talking about, I had dealt with a lot of um drug and alcohol abuse, and it was hard for me to get out of that. I got
Right.
into it at an early age. So I
Mhm.
make songs about, my struggle with those things. And I'm 3 years sober now. And
Hey, good job, man.
yeah, and I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
And so, I got a song coming out called El Nino, and
Mhm.
it's coming out February 27th. I don't know when this will be out, but hey, if it's out after, like, go check it out. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, all that. JonRubio music. And but yeah, like, so El Nino, for example, is kind of talking about like is social awareness around different topics. Like I'll talk about in that song specifically, I'm talking about the social awareness that surrounds addiction, substance abuse, and like how society sort of outcasts and black sheeps um, people that have they're addicts. I
Mhm.
mean, that's just what it is, right? It's what we
Right.
do. Now, the problem though that I address there is like, you're getting judged for having this addiction problem,
Right.
but yet society is also not helping you. Like they promote alcohol in our music videos, in our
Exactly,
movies.
yeah.
They promote drug abuse. They promote all these things. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a lot of liquor stores in our neighborhoods. There's a lot of bars. I mean, it's in everything. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, I'm a man, like I can make my own decisions. Yeah, you can, but when you get to drugs at 12 years old, you don't have
Right.
a choice. You're
Yeah.
you're already you haven't even developed yet, and you're already doing something. You know what I mean? You're already institutionalized. So, it's kind of what I'm talking about. Is like, different social topics, awareness, or sometimes I'll make songs to uplift, like, um people, um raise spiritual awareness, or like, get people to think more about the sacredness of life. And like I put a lot of Buddhist stuff in there. I'll put like some of our native spiritual philosophy in there, or some of the more like, you know, Taoist, Chinese style way of thinking, like
Yeah.
philosophy. So I put a lot of philosophy and thought into what I make. Every song's different too. So like, it's I talk a lot about it's just deeper stuff, like I don't make like regular music where it's like, I've had songs out there that I talk about like just partying and going to the club, and it's like whatever.
Right. Right.
When I was a lot younger, and but right now, I'm just really just focusing on the message is for you to think about how you fit in the bigger picture. How you fit with the people around you? How do you fit with the trees in front of you? How do you fit with the animals? How do you fit with the water? How do you fit?
Yeah.
What is your relationship to the universe? And like, and that's so yeah. I mean, if there's one thing I want people to get with my music is like that self-awareness
Mhm.
of like, where do I fit in and who am I and what am I, and like that question sparks that bigger flame where it's like they become that fire to help light somebody else's candle that's not lit. They illuminate, and that's the movement.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. What artists influenced you the most early on?
Man, two off the top of my head,
Mhm.
Tech Nine and well, three. Tech Nine, Avenged Sevenfold, which is a sick metal band,
Mhm.
and Tupac. Those are three big ones for me. Um, so yeah, I mean that just super super big. Like I remember me and my homie when we were 12, we were learning Tech Nine songs,
Yeah.
and my family and I would do that too. But we just learn Tech Nine songs. Like my cousins and I would just hang out and like we'd watch the lyric videos and we try to copy Tech Nine, and I started learning that flow like that,
Yeah. that
with
Midwest
Tupac.
chopper style.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly, bro,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then, Avenged Sevenfold influenced, like, that sort of genre blending. I was
Mhm.
listening to an album called City of Evil, and, they were, like, metal, alternative, but then they
Mhm.
would mix it with, like, Latino style, like, salsa or Latino style
Oh,
samba
wow.
or, like, classical guitar, and I
Yeah,
just love that, bro. I was like, "That's sick." Like, I never heard anything like this before. And
yeah.
Tech Nine started doing that too with, like, metal, he did a song with, System of a Down, Serj Tankian,
Okay.
and, like, that blew my mind. I was like, I didn't know a rapper could cross genres like that, and so, you
Yeah,
know
Tech N9ne is amazing like that.
dude, it's insane, bro.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that goes to show, right, why I
Mhm.
blend genres, because like,
Yeah,
that's to me, that's what makes people legend, because
yeah,
they're not just drawing wisdom from one source, they're drawing wisdom because it's wisdom, right? Like,
yeah, from any
we're
source, right?
yeah, from any source.
Yeah. That's awesome. I can see the influence of Tupac too, because I remember, one of the profound things that he said was some interviewer guy. I think the interviewer guy was trying to get him in trouble, but he's like, "What are you trying to get people to do when you make your music?" And he says, "To think." And you're like a step past that now, where you're talking about like transformative music that is like changing people's lives. I think that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, man, no, I appreciate that, dude, for real, music's just, I mean, art shapes culture. Society, we've known this for years. I mean, think about the Chinese, like, they had the dynastic periods, and they're a new country. They've only been around for 100 years or so.
Yeah.
Before that they were a dynasty, and like, but they understood how meaningful art was. So if you think about, like, if you look at, like, the Cantonese opera,
Hmm.
like, they would put politics in their plays. They would put, like, visuals, they like all this stuff, music, like, and look how it shaped culture, man. Like, our art shapes culture, and like, if what I learned, I studied I don't know if you ever heard of Harvard's EDX program.
I have not.
So it's kind of sick, right? So my wife and I were sitting down one day, and she's like, "Hey, babe, the Harvard they're offering free classes." I was like, "What? No
Oh.
way!" I was like, "What's the catch?" They're like, "Well, you have to complete it within a certain time, otherwise you'll have to pay for your certificate and all this and that." So I took a class called Creating Modern China,
Mhm.
and it was basically talking about, like, how China came to be what it is now, right? And the idea that I'm bringing out from what I learned there was they understood how propaganda influenced culture, how they were
Oh,
able
for
to get
sure.
people to follow them,
Yeah.
art, music,
Yeah.
books, like all these different stuff. Like, art shapes culture, and what they were saying was that if we can change the way people think,
Hmm.
we can change the way people act.
Yeah. That's powerful. That's very powerful.
And that's why, to me, I think if you have a platform, any platform, art, or like, any platform that spreads education, like, art, it's our duty to educate people, but also to shape society. Like, our voice matters, whether people think it doesn't or not. Like,
Hmm.
you teaching your child matters. Like, you know what I'm saying? As
Yeah.
teachers, like, we have such a big responsibility, but also as artists, like, we shouldn't just make music for ourselves. Like, people are gonna listen to it. People are gonna be influenced by it. So why not make something that is gonna influence in a good way?
Yeah. That's a great reason to put your finger on the scale. I gotta say, um, it's it's awesome. Like these deeper like world expand. That's one thing I really like about you and your group, the Los Mocochetes, is that you guys do have your localized viewpoint on things, but you also have like this top down, like heaven's eye viewpoint on what your guys' mission is. So for the people who haven't heard of Los Mocachetes yet, how would you describe the band?
Oh, man, we're just a group of mocosos, man. We play instruments, and we were those troublemaking kids. Like, all of us were just wild, man. Like, we came together and um we talk about the machete being like a tool. Everybody uses a machete.
Mhm.
But what do you use the machete for? Do you use it to, help harvest your crops, kill the snakes in the grass? Do you use it to harm other people? Like
Mm.
what do you use it for, right? And so
Right.
our what we are those snot nosed kids that everybody knows because we're always in trouble. Um, that choose to use our machete for good to cultivate our community and that's our message. Like that's what we do. That's we do it in the form of what we call Chicano funk.
Mhm.
But we basically mix Latino styles of music with modern styles of music, like
Mm.
reggaeton. Let's say we take a ranchera, a Mexican style music of ranchera.
Mhm.
Maybe we mix it with ska, or we take cumbia. Maybe we'll mix it with rock. We'll take salsa, we'll mix it with hip hop.
Mhm.
So that's kind of our thing. Like we make Latino music or Chicano funk, if you will,
Mhm.
but we present it in a way that is modern and unique. We blend all of our influences, musical influences, into our playing, which creates what you guys hear the Mocochete sound.
Yeah. Well, I remember you saying a little earlier that when you were doing your music in church, and that's what led to you being in the group. So can you tell us a little more about how the group formed and what your role is in there?
Yeah. So kind of funny, like our guitarist Elias Garcia, he
Mhm.
was studying at CCD, um, on at Arari campus, Metro. While I was studying jazz,
Mhm.
he was there studying music as well. We share the same campus. Arari's campus is like CU Denver, Metro, and CCD, I believe, or
Right.
UCD, or one of the two. I think it's UCD. I can't remember, but
Yeah.
the University of Colorado Denver, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, so Elias and I would cross paths a lot, and we had the smoking section where everybody smoked cigarettes, and
Yeah,
the green ones too, right?
yeah.
So you know, we would hang out, and we're musicians, bro. We hang out, talk about music. Elias was playing his guitar, and I was like, "Yo, dude, you're sick, bro." Like, and we just started talking, man. And he's like, "Yo, you got to come down to Youth on Record." And
Mhm.
Youth on Record was like this it's this a community space where for kids where and young artists to record for free, set up by the Flowbots in Denver.
Oh, it was the Flowbots that set that up. I'm actually familiar with the space, so
Mhm.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I was hesitant because I didn't know the guy. I was like, bro, I don't know
Yeah.
you, bro. I ain't just gonna go somewhere with you. Like, he kept bugging me, man, for a few more months. He's like, bro, just come on, dude, just come down, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, bro, all right. I also met Diego, our bassist, who's also a
Mhm.
muralist like yourself.
Right.
Um, I mean, he was also down on campus. He would just hang out sometimes randomly. So I met those two on a separate occasion. The Mocochetes hadn't been formed yet.
Mhm.
I come down to Youth on Record. Diego, I, and Elias form a band called Raíz del Sol. Some of the
Mhm.
songs that we play in the Mocochetes are actually our songs that we originally had created. And then the Mocochetes formed. We had one of the members who's no longer with us now. Two members that aren't with us, but they were some of the founding members. And so
Mhm.
the story goes that Elias, one of our ex members, and Diego, um, were out cleaning and helping with the acequias, in like the ditches, the water ditches and stuff in New Mexico,
Right.
cleaning them out.
Yeah.
And I think they went to Walmart for supplies or something. And then like one of them pulls out like a fake machete, and the other guy's like, "What are you doing with that machete, mocoso?" And they're like, "Wait a minute." They're like, "Yo, that sounds sick. What if we made it?" They came up with mocochetes.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so it kind of the rest is history, man. They actually already had a drummer, right? And mind you, I was already in a band with two of them.
Yeah.
And they found a drummer for that group, for the Mocochetes, I mean,
Mhm.
originally, right? And they hit me up and were like, "Yo, our drummer can't make it to our a tour. We're doing a tour in New Mexico."
Right.
I was like, "Okay." And they were like, "Yeah, well, we need a drummer. Are you down?" I was instantly, I was like, "Bro, you guys already know." Hell yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
So we went on our first tour to we went to play in Little Vegas,
Mhm.
and it was sick, dude. Such a good time. And from there, like, we built that connection, and I think eventually the other drummer had like was starting a family or something like something like that, where like they weren't able to show up as much, they had other obligations and stuff.
Right.
And so he ended up leaving or whatever, and then they were like, "Well, we need a drummer, dude. Like, are you down?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, bro." So I joined the band, and by that time, Hoser, our frontman, one of our frontmen, had joined the band. So like in between me going on tour, they added another member
Mhm.
by the time I joined the band. So like I joined the band, and then there was like a percussionist, and there was also a new frontman. And yeah, man, that's the rest is kind of history. Like, some people left, come and gone, and it's
Yeah.
just like, how it is. It's starting a group. Like some people, sometimes their values change, or like their priorities change, and the people that are in the band are the people that are meant to stay. And like, it's just what it is. Like we're
Yeah.
just happy to keep going and like doing our thing.
That's
But yeah,
awesome,
that
man.
that's just history, man. And
Yeah.
you guys seen us, and that's our group, man.
Yeah.
That's how we got where we are now.
Yeah, I had a great time there. So let's talk about the creative process. When you're creating, what usually comes first? Rhythm, lyrics, or a mood?
Oh man, that's a good question, dude. That's a good question. Usually melody and rhythm.
Okay.
Sometimes it's lyrics. Lyrics will come up,
Hmm.
and I'm like, ooh, lyrics and rhythm. It's either lyrics and rhythm or melody and rhythm.
Hmm.
And then once I go from there, then I'm like, okay, I got this melody. I'm either making a beat or it's the melody of the lyrics. So either or, sometimes I'll make the beat first and then I make the lyrics, or like I'll get a dream of a beat and I wake up and I go to the studio or go to my computer and I put everything down in FL Studio. I use FL Studio, by the way, for beats and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, so usually, like I'll get influenced by something, or if I hear something I like in a song,
Hmm.
I'm like, ooh, I like how he's hitting this note. It reminds me of this. Then I'll take the idea, and not like note for note or anything like that, but like I'll take the idea of them going and doing, let's say, a perfect sixth,
Hmm.
and then doing, whatever like kind of style melody. And I'm like,
Hmm.
ooh, I'm gonna do that idea, but I'm gonna put it in my song and
Hmm.
figure out how I can do that same like theoretical technique or whatever they're doing, right?
Right.
But yeah, so usually sometimes the lyrics come out to like another song I'm listening
Hmm.
to, and I'm like, "Ooh, I would say this. I would say that." And then I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna make a song that sounds like this." And then I just put my lyrics on it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Where do you think some of your best ideas come from? I know you mentioned dreams there, and it's like you obviously are getting inspiration from other artists, but are there other avenues that are cooking things up for you?
Um, yeah, man, like movies, movie soundtracks.
Yeah.
Movie soundtracks are sick. Like for me, at least for beats, like I listen to. I mean, I watch anime and stuff. I grew up watching Dragon Ball. If you Mexican, if you don't know what Dragon Ball is, bro, that's a red flag, bro. There's
Yeah,
something
for
wrong
real.
there.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Dragon Ball Z. My wife doesn't believe me, but like we went to the mall in Aurora, right? And there's
Mhm.
this older lady, bro, wearing a freaking Dragon Ball Z jersey. And I
Mhm.
was like, see, I told you. I was like, I told you. I was like, I ain't like a nerd dog. Like,
I ain't no
just
nerd.
nah, yeah, no, I'm just playing. I don't care, you know what I mean? But I love Dragon Ball Z, bro. Like, so
Yeah.
I grew up with that, watching anime or watching like Star Wars or watching like whatever movie, the
Yeah.
Gladiator, whatever movie. I mean, the soundtracks always influence me. So sometimes when let's say if I'm having writer's block,
Mhm.
I'd watch a movie and I listen to the soundtrack, and I'm like, "Ooh, I really like this line. What if I play with this line and put it in a beat or sample it?"
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then I'm like, "Okay, now, like, I don't like just sampling stuff. So what I'll
Mhm.
do is I'll change the notes, change the scale, and then I'll turn it into my own idea now."
Yeah.
So, like, that's another thing too, like, I mean, really, it's influences, like, for one, I get them in dreams, they just come
Mhm.
to me, or I'll hear a song, and I'm like, "Ooh, there's a sick idea I like this dude doing," and then
Mhm.
I'll go and write it down, and, like, I'll find the formula for it on a theoretical standpoint, like,
Yeah.
using music theory. I'll figure out what exactly they're playing, how they're playing it,
Mhm.
and then I'm like, "Okay, oh, I can hear this influence in them. Oh, that's
Yeah.
sick. Okay, I'm gonna do something similar and try to, like, blend my influences in what I do." But,
Yeah.
yeah, usually, like, I'd watch movies or, um another thing is watching interviews of your favorite artists talk about their creative process and their
Yeah.
life. That also sparks that flame of, like, "Ooh, getting that the creative
Yeah.
juices flowing."
Yeah. I would say my favorite thing to listen to is like other artists' biographies. Like when I'm in the mood to absorb other things, like that's definitely like my number one go-to.
Yeah, that's sick, man. I always tell my friends, they're like, "Hey, man, I'm having trouble writing." I'm like, "Bro, just watch interviews of your favorite
Yeah.
rapper, dude. It works
Yeah,
every
that
time."
I like that you brought that up about writer's block or artist block, you know. Um, is that something that happens to you in commonly? And like obviously you mentioned one tactic. Is there other ones about overcoming those creative blocks?
Yeah, there's a lot, bro. Like, for it, I mean, it happens to everybody.
Hmm.
There's not one person that doesn't have writer's block. Sometimes and and this is the truth. This is the truth to writer's block. You're not awake. You're not conscious. You're like in the mundane way of living. Like you're just going through the motions.
Mm,
You don't know how you feel. You don't know who you are. Right.
yeah,
That's usually what happens for a lot of people. They don't even know what to write about
right.
because they're not tapped into their feelings,
Yeah.
their emotion, what their heart is wanting to express. Music's expression.
Hmm.
We have to express how we feel to get that creative juice flowing.
Right.
Another thing that people run into is um, having a melody but can't putting lyrics down. That's something else, a different type of writer's block, and usually that's like it comes with time. Like you can't really some like for me like you can't. I mean, you can't really don't force the process. Like
Right.
definitely take your time,
Hmm.
but there's ways to. There's a difference between me sitting on a 7 month song
Hmm.
versus me locking in for 2 weeks and doing a formula to get myself unblocked.
Right.
Because if you don't do anything about writer's block and you just never do nothing with the song,
Right.
you just, sorry, but you're not you're not a professional. Because
Yeah.
what if you have to do a song? What if they I mean, you know what I mean? What if you did a deal and they're like, well, we need you to release a song quarterly for 2 years
Hmm.
and you have writer's block and you just never do it? Like there's just the way that scientifically there's writer's block. There's a
Hmm.
scientific way, a formula to undo writer's block. And a
Yeah.
lot of that comes from like you got to know what you're going through and start there.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's hard to write to other topics that people give you if they're like, I want you to talk about social justice. I want you to talk about this. Sometimes it's hard because you're not emotionally connected to that.
Right.
And so you need a combination of it is like, work on yourself. That's the biggest thing.
Hmm.
You have a writer's block because there's a personal obstacle in your life that's holding you back.
Hmm.
And like when you're in the flow and you're expressing how you need to, like you're moving through those obstacles. When you can't express yourself, it's because there's a blockage. Like if you can't tell me what's going on in here,
Hmm.
there's something going on. Like you got to work
Yeah.
on yourself. You got to be able to express that. It's like, man, like bro, like we're used to not talking about how we feel,
For sure.
and like music is a way for us to express that. And if we're not able to do that with music,
Hmm.
like if we are musicians, but we run into writer's block, then I have to look inside myself and figure out what I'm going through. Like, what is it that's keeping me from like writing?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm stressed. Oh, I'm sad about my grandma passing away.
Right.
Ah, maybe you should write about that.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
a lot of it comes from self-awareness and knowing like you gotta emotionally check in with yourself as an artist. Like you can't just pump out music all the time. Like if you really want to make meaningful music, it's gotta come from the heart. And if you can't tap into that, there's self-work, internal work that you have to do. You know, like go to therapy or something. I don't know, read books, like watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that'll make you feel things. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely one of my favorite shows, I gotta say. Yeah, no, that's I think people will find that very valuable because that's I would say as an artist, that's like one of the number one questions I get. And I would say my answers are very similar to yours. Yeah, especially when it comes to artist block. Um, so I would like to dive into like what's going on now with you. So what projects are you working on now? What are like some new releases that people should know about?
So okay, so big thing here. I did mention this a little before earlier. So I have a song called Il Nino,
Hmm.
and I've been sitting on this song for about 2 years. I'm excited to drop this February 27th.
Hmm.
And I'm dropping it with the new record label I just dropped called Conciencia. It's right here on my hat.
That's dope, man.
And so yeah, like this huge project, man. Like I'm working on quite a bit of stuff. Like with Conciencia, I've essentially created this platform. Um, it's a vehicle. My one of our CEOs says it's the UFO to ship the alien, to ship like, the people that are like like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just a metaphor, but it's a platform for us to spread consciousness
Hmm.
and elevate the consciousness of people through art. So like it's like a record label,
Hmm.
but it's not just with music. It's with visual artists. It's with people that want to make short films or like want to make movies or any sort of film, music videos, podcast interviews, whatever. Um, but also obviously musicians, recording artists, performers,
Hmm.
visual artists can also help with merchandise. So part of it is with the brand Conciencia.
Hmm.
We want to be able to create a cult following. It's a movement. We have to be united,
Hmm.
and regardless, I know that there's been so much of a negative negative attachment to the term cult following, right?
Right.
Being in a cult is not a bad thing as long as you are open to coexisting with people that don't agree with how you agree.
Yeah, my understanding of cult, I mean, besides like the darker aspect of it, isn't it short for like culture, you know?
Ah, that's a good way to put it. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean it sounds like community is very important to you. So just some follow-up questions in regards to that. Is there any local artists that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, man. I definitely want to give a shout out to 2MX2.
Okay.
There's some really good friends of mine. Owen from 2MX2. We him and I did a song called Latino Heat. You can check
Mhm.
that out on YouTube. We did a music video with my Aztec dancing group, Huitzi Lopochli.
Oh wow.
And um, yeah, man, Owen printed the first shirts that I have for Conciencia, which I have
Nice.
some on sale. So if anyone's interested in that, anytime, like just check us out on social media, and I'll send you some links and stuff. But Owen made us the first shirts. He printed them out for us
Hmm.
and pressed them himself out of his own pocket. He paid for them.
Hmm.
And so I really want to give a special shout out to him. And next up, Denver, they did this show. It was a showcase for artists coming up.
Hmm.
And Denver funded a lot of it. And they were like, yo, we're going to help you put the show together. Owen hit me up and was like, "Yo, you want to be on the show?" I'm like, "I'm down, dude." He's like, "Bet. Like, how can we help you excel in like what you're trying to do?" I'm like, "Dude, I really need some shirts.
Mhm.
Like, I need to physically manifest this movement that I have in my head."
Right.
Community, you know? So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely want to shout out Owen, you know, like he's doing good stuff for the community up here in Denver as well. And all the way down to the San Luis Valley, you know, he
Mhm.
does stuff. So I want to give a shout out to him. I want to give a real big shout out to the social system and the C Rod. Those are my CEOs for Conciencia. They've been putting in a lot of work. The social system has a business that he runs with his wife
Mhm.
called I think it's called the Brown Beauty Boutique or something like that. But
Okay.
basically, they make native jewelry,
Oh, nice.
and like I met him through shout out to Rafa and
Mhm.
Christina or whatever. Uh, uh, Rafa and Christina are like the directors of the Indigenous Comic Con event that they run in Denver,
Oh, cool. I
and
didn't even know
so
that was a thing. That's awesome.
yeah, bro. So like you know, it's I really just want to shout out everybody like that's helped me come this far. Shout out to DJ Deuce, my in-house engineer homie. Like he's just been here for me for a long time and like and you know everybody that's been with me, man, like all my artist friends, my homie Yugs, same thing. Like everybody that's been along the ride, you know, like we have all shaped and helped me get to where I am and like that's community like you were saying before, man. Like so I'd like to thank the community, you know, everybody that has been helping us out and like yourself, you know, for putting me on, bro. And like appreciate you guys. And shout
Oh,
out
for sure.
Clifton. Shout out Clifton.
Yeah, I think he'll look forward to seeing that one. So speaking of collaboration, is there like who would you love to collaborate with someday?
Oh man, I'm really I'm I would say I'm acquainted. I'm like friends with Monica the Great. And
Nice.
dude, she's sick, bro.
Yeah.
I see her around, you know, we've been wanting to work on some stuff. She's definitely on my list. I need to work with her.
Hmm.
Another homie of mine is called Eyes,
Hmm.
IIES.
Hmm.
Sick, sick rapper, dude. He
Yeah.
is sick. And he's another homie. I actually met him through Yugs. So I need to get in contact with him too. Those are two artists that I've been on my radar that I really want to work with and collab, you know, make like a really powerful record, something conscious, you know.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. If the younger version of you could see what you're doing now, what do you think he'd say?
I think you'd be surprised, honestly. Um, I think I well, I guess not surprised, but well, in some aspects surprised.
Yeah.
Like for one, I would I don't know, man. Like I didn't want to settle down and like, you know, all that kind of stuff. And like,
Hmm.
you know, I wanted to like tour the world and do music that way, you know, and like, but times change, you know, and now I'm more focused on like developing this network, you know, and like this platform Conciencia.
Hmm.
It's what I always wanted to do is create a team. And I knew that I couldn't do it alone.
Right.
So I think my past self is really happy and like proud to start to like live this dream, you know, that we've been wanting to do. So
That's awesome. All right. So closing out here, where can people follow you? Any upcoming shows, drops, or announcements? What you up to this year, basically?
so I got quite a bit of stuff going on. If you guys want to reach out to me, you could Google JONRUBIO music. Google me and it'll show up all my stuff. I got my Instagram, I got a link tree on there, I got Facebook. I mean, you can follow me on all platforms, YouTube, whatever. Um, yeah, but yeah, connect with me on there and then make sure to follow Conciencia, CONC um IENCIA. And Conciencia official is how it's recognized on all platforms. But yeah, make sure to follow us. We got a couple events coming up. I think we're doing every second Friday of every month at this Clave Jam we do with Los Mocochetes. at Manos Sagrados in Aurora, Colorado. So if you guys are artists out here in Pueblo or wherever you're from in Colorado, or even if you're out of town, come check those out. It'll be the second week, the second Friday of March. We're gonna do the next one. But yeah, man, we'll stay. I'll keep you guys posted. So
Mhm.
stay tuned for more because I might be playing Foco MX this year as Jon Rubio. So I mean, we always play with the Mocochetes, so you
Mhm.
look out for that too. But yeah, definitely got some stuff coming up. Like I said, I got that drop coming. Il Nino drops February 27th. Make sure to check it out. And yeah, follow me on my socials. Let me know what you think of what we're doing. If you want to get involved with Conciencia, look us up. You can follow us on my platform too. Just look at my Instagram. I got it in my bio. It's everywhere. And yeah, man, special shout out to you, bro, for having me. And thank you guys.
Yeah, anything else you wanna say?
Um, in these rough times, it's important that we really try to understand each other. We're talking about unity and stuff, and it doesn't mean that we have to put up with BS, that we have to put up with oppression, things that are happening,
Mhm.
but we shouldn't treat each other badly because we believe something. I think the only way to stop what's going on right now is to overcome it with love. Love always um, trumps hate. And right now, we need love more than ever in our communities. Like, you know, we're getting attacked, bro. Like, let's be honest,
Mhm.
okay? And if you don't agree with that, that's fine. But we have to respect each other, even if we disagree. We have to love each other and hold that space and still exist. We have to coexist. If we can't coexist, then there's no love. No love, there's death. There's no we can't exist. There's no you need love. You can't have one without the other. And just uplift your people. Like if you're hearing this, don't let the hate ruin your love for humans, your love for yourself, your love for your community, your love for the sacredness of life, for the animals, for the plants, for the elements, your love for God or whatever you believe in. Like, the love has to be stronger than the hate.
Well, thank you. Appreciate having you, man.
Yeah,
Beautiful
thank you.
message.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you,
Yeah.
man.